But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am back home, and this is the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball on the internet. My name is Everett Delorme, back home in Toronto, not in Chicago yet. That is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. My camera is not straight, and I'm going to have to fix that. I can see it now. It's all crooked. And we are now 2 weeks in to the Volleyball Nations League. We've had 1 week of women, 1 week of men. I've been on the road for 2 weeks, and I'm absolutely exhausted. And it's been fun. It's been a good time. First and foremost, Rob, how are you? How are things in Toronto?
Things in Chicago are fantastic. I'm excited for the volleyball world to descend on my city because I've just had such a good time watching you in Quebec City and in Ottawa last week, and just all the volleyball going on all around the world. I'm like itching to be in a gym. I'm ready to be there in person to see it, because like I think the biggest theme for me of week one of the men is it was just as electric as week one of the women, and so far the 2025 VNL is delivering in the biggest and best possible way. This has been incredibly entertaining.
It might have been electric. No, it was. I'm going to say, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I was at what will be the best venue for VNL this year in Quebec City. We set record crowds, second best all-time VNL record, and it was nonstop all throughout the weekend. It was actually incredible. Over 12,000 on Saturday, over 9,000 on Sunday. The average attendance was over 6,000 for this event, Rob St. Clair. So bye-bye la visite, as we say in Quebec. Thank you very much for everyone else who have participated. But clearly, Quebec has been the best venue for VNL that we've seen this year.
I mean, so far, I don't think there's a question about it. I mean, the Maracanazinho is obviously iconic, but they didn't pack the stands nearly the same way that Quebec did. So,
and they only packed the stands as well for Brazil
games.
Yeah, even the matches before or after, whatever it is, it's a ghost land in there. So, yeah, you're getting 9. I don't think it's quite 10, but it's like 9 something the Maracanazinho for when Brazil is in there, but then you're getting 1,300 for when USA is losing to the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Sorry.
Yes.
Also, I like how you took more offense to how I pronounced that than your team.
Well, don't worry. We'll talk about my team. I want you to find your microphone's pop filter because it does not sound particularly good.
I lost the pop filter somewhere here, but I can find something else. Just give me a second.
Right, well, you got to figure it out over there. I know you're resetting your whole life after being on the road for 2 weeks.
Well, I've only got a few days at home. That's my problem here, Rob St. Clair, is that on Thursday I got to head up to a wonderful Berks Falls to a cottage to go to a bachelor party. So it's like a quick, like I've been doing laundry. It's like a quick rip home, come see the wifey, get a quick back rub, and then you're off to the races again on Thursday.
I've been there. That was kind of like how my last summer was, but here I'm just waiting for you to show up a week from yesterday to my apartment here in Chicago. Then we got a week ahead of us, boys and girls. So we got a lot.
Specifically didn't drink in Ottawa or Quebec City because I knew that like from Thursday on my blood will just be alcohol.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We're going to do kind of what we did on last week's shows. We talked about week one of the women. We're going to kind of hit some major storylines. We're going to hit some winners and losers of the week. Everett obviously saw 6 teams in person, so we want to hear all of his opinions and observations about what he saw up in Quebec City. Everett, I think the first place we should start, at least to acknowledge, is the only team this week that went 4-0, and that's Poland. Poland's B.5 team, B team bordering on C team, went to China and went 4-0. They're the only team to go 4-0. The only remotely good opponent they played was Japan, who they beat 39-37 in the fourth. Other than that, they walked over the Netherlands, Turkey, and Serbia, who it turned out at the end of the week were far and away the 3 worst teams in the tournament in week one. But congratulations to Poland. They flexed their depth and they went and took care of business.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we really need to talk much about it.
Kevin Sosak was really good. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I mean, that's to be expected, right? Kevin Sosak is a really good player. He just lit it up in the Plus Liga. I don't know. It's hard for me to say anything about this Polish team. The only other team I watched was really the American games. Like those are the other, like I did not watch a second of Polish volleyball this past weekend. But this doesn't surprise me. But I will say they've made a few changes to their jerseys, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, they got a new sponsor.
There's like a different, just a slightly different set on how they're doing things. And yeah, I kind of like it.
I did watch some Poland, so rather than telling me to hurry up, talking about a team that I watched and you didn't, you can sit here and listen to me, because I'm going to sit here and listen to you talk about the 6 teams that you saw. So chill out over there. I thought Poland's C.5 team was really good. I think that Kevin Sosak is making a play for the World Championship roster. I think it could very well be him and Bartosz Kurek. And I think that there are some Polish fans asking for the same thing. We don't know really what's going on. I mean, Kaczmark's not playing VNL. Bołądź didn't show up week 1. Butrin's not playing VNL. I think there's a chance that if Kevin Sosak keeps this up, he could find himself on a World Championship roster. Liked Firle a lot. I liked the pairing of Shalpuk and Shimura a lot on the left. They got 2 young liberos in there. They got a bunch of middles in there. There's this kid Jakub Novak who played in the second division this past year that I think is going to Norvid this upcoming year in the middle, and people are really high on him. So I liked seeing him play out there a little bit. And one thing I'm really interested in that Eric Shoji told us in our USA video, I asked him about some other teams. He said that Poland's roster choices for later in the tournament might depend on how they do week 1. And they went 4-0 week 1. So I'm really curious to see how that affects their plans for the rest of the summer. Are they going to keep this group rolling, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of mentality? Or are they going to come to Chicago in front of basically 4 sellout Polish crowds and try to bring the guys? I'm honestly not sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at who they won, who they beat, Japan is not Japan of the past. The Dutch, Turks, and the Serbs, as you said, might have been turned out to be some of the worst teams this week. So I'm really not putting that much stock into it. Like it's impressive, and it's I don't know if I like to call it Poland's depth. I'd like to rather put it as Poland's girth. You know, like that's how they can kind of destroy you with just waves and waves after just so many different dudes. But yeah.
Oh man, yeah, we don't need to go into it that much more. They did only play one good opponent. That 4th set against Japan was legitimately awesome. I mean, 39-37, really, really fun to watch. But the rest of the games were not overwhelmingly competitive. So we can move on. But I wanted to give them credit for starting the week 4-0. They're the only team to do so. Do you want to talk about your team, Everett?
Yeah, I want to talk about my team a lot because I think Canada deserves a bit of an apology, really, from the general Discord community, because I think we showed some really fucking good ball this past week. They impressed the shit out of me. And I was talking to Graham Viagrass on Sunday night, and he was, here go my curtains again. We're starting it early. Crap. It's already so hot in this room too. I don't know, you can see I'm really sweaty. I'm not comfortable at this moment. But as Graham said, after the German game and how they handled that and how we played, it really just kind of opened our eyes and be like, yo, this team can ball, this team can play. All of a sudden we have left side depth.
Yeah,
which is absolutely wild. Brody Hofer, I was in the gym with them the week before. He did not look that good. I was wondering if Brody was going to be a starter by the end of seriously, he did not look that good. And then I thought he looked a little bit better in the Italy game, but his passing was a little suspect. And I will have to say, Canada's passing, not an issue in week number 1. We were passing way better than I would have thought. I think we were 59% positive and 26% perfect. So we were quite up there in the middle of the pack.
Pretty good overall, yeah.
In terms of the quality of the passing. So Brody was passing fantastic. And I just found that every single guy who stepped up on the court impressed me. No one really felt like they were out of their depth. Jackson Young, massive shout out to him. I mean, he's kind of grinded it away in Friedrichshafen for the past couple of years. He comes from a really small school. Shout out to Nipissing University up there in North Bay, and Coach Eric Young. Jackson wasn't even named to the B team last year. At the beginning of this year, he was the only pro guy named to the B team. Actually, maybe just Setter Tom Sora as well. But, apparently in the first few days, Dave Preston, who's the head coach of the next gen team, was telling him, was like, you know what, like, you should be up at that top court. And that's exactly what happened. And I mean, for the first two matches, especially, Jackson Young was absolutely fantastic. His serve receive was ridiculous. He brings in a level of explosiveness that we don't really have.
Explosive is a great word.
And like he's got a really fast arm swing. He can get up there really fast. And the fact that these were his first two real appearances with Team Canada were incredible. Danon was unbelievable in the middle, really showed up well for us. He's averaging like 0.62 blocks per set. Throughout this one, his blocking was really unreal. Finn McCarthy, what a captain. Like, just the amount of confidence he's oozing and the way he leads this team is amazing. Like, there's times where, like, we know that Dan Lewis likes to get excited. Like, we know that Dan Lewis likes to get in there.
I cannot get enough of watching Dan Lewis on the sideline.
There's times where I'm seeing Finn just kind of like, hey, it's all good. So, and the way he steps up in big moments, like, if it's a long rally and if it's a broken play and we get a good pass and like it's a crucial moment, like, we're giving it to Finn. And I've even found myself fist pumping. Like, as soon as we give it to Finn, I'm fist pumping because I know that point is coming. Landon Curry was unbelievable. I thought as our libero, his passing was incredible. So much so that continuously coaches were telling their teams to go away from him throughout the weekend. And I can't announce it yet, but he's got a really nice contract coming for him this year, and I'm really excited. Varga was incredible off the bench for us too in both the second matches, showing so much poise, and he's still going back to Long Beach, so he's still got a lot of time to go. So, I mean, I could really go on and on about our roster all day. I think that this is really just a continuation of what Dan Lewis has been doing with these guys since 2022. With that program just really molding together. And that's, and talking to some of these guys, they've been playing together since U19, right? So there is that continuity and that understanding of the program and what's been happening. So especially when you're thinking about the depth that Canada still has not here in terms of the Lepkes and the retired Mars and the Demyanenkos and the Schwartzes. This was, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought this was going to be a rough VNL for us, but boy, oh boy, was I absolutely loving. I was loving our passing. I was loving our systems. Our transition offense right now is so good, right? Like, we know that our serve receive isn't necessarily there, but our transition offense is really good. Our side out is incredible. Shout out to Brody Hofer, who was 17 for fucking 20 on Sunday against Bulgaria, who was an absolute animal.
A Landy line on the left side is insane. It's completely insane. 21 points on 20 attack attempts.
Exactly. Like, what, he had 3 blocks on top of that and an ace. And I mean, it was against a tired Bulgaria, let's say. Like, at that point, both the Nikolovs were spent, and Canada really pushed on that. But still, it's crazy to, like, there was moments out there when if I squinted, I thought I was seeing Stephen Marr and Gord Perrin playing together on the left side when I had Brody Hofer and Scarlett Varga out there. And it was like shades of them. Oh, okay. I'm like, just you wait until the absolute glazing on your team comes, pulling a celebration, beating Iran in 5, mister. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, like, there's a lot of good things happening on the Canada side. There's, like, it's not outrageous to say that we could be 4-0. Have gone 4-0 this week too. We were a little bit suspect in the 5th set against Argentina and France, but just in the conversations with the guys and coaches afterwards too, is just like there's a clear identification of why that's happening and how to deal with it in the future. So I'm not saying that we're going to the playoffs necessarily or anything like that, but I am saying there's no way we're getting relegated.
Oh, so, no, absolutely.
You and Ronnie can fight over that one.
Well, I'm not getting relegated either.
No,
That's
I don't think so either.
well, we can talk about Ronnie's team in a minute, but I was, I mean,
Show up for one game.
yeah, right. I mean, Everett and I like to give each other a hard time about Canada and the U.S., and I won't speak for Everett, but Canada is my second favorite national team in the world. I love watching you guys. I like rooting for this team.
We're fun to watch right now too.
You're fun.
Like,
You're likable. I mean, the crowd in QC was unbelievable. That obviously helped.
This was a brand of Maple Volleys volleyball that it was
very
evolved.
fun to watch.
You know, like it was demonstrably Canadian volleyball. Like, we weren't trying to do something that was outside of ourselves. We weren't playing way outside of our head. Like when we were dismantling Argentina and France, when we were on the go, like that was our play that was really putting the pressure on them. And then we were the ones who took the foot off our foot off the gas. But I mean, I know there's a long way to go. And I do want to temper expectations a little bit. Things are different when you're, not at home. Like, it was a bit of a fairy tale first week for those guys, and anything can happen once you go on the road. And that's kind of where things start to test you, but love the first step out of the gate.
I think that's totally fair. Tempering expectations of everybody is an important theme. And after literally 1 week of an entire Olympic cycle, but I thought Canada was really good. I wonder how much further up in this VNL you all even have to go. I think that you talked about left side depth. I mean, beneath Lepke, Marr, Hogue, Barnes, 3 of the 4 of whom are expected to come back at least sometime in the near future. I know Hogue for world champs, but like, you only played 3 left sides the whole week. You played 2 setters the whole week. You played 1 libero the whole week, 3 middles and 2 opposites. So like, within the context of this VNL, I don't know how much further in the upward direction Canada really has to go. I mean, if you can sustain what you just did, that's you're going to have a good.
But that's all that we're looking to do, right?
Fair
Once
enough.
again, I didn't even say that, like, we're looking for playoffs or anything. Once again, this is that long-term plan, and there is another option. There's still Isaac Heslinga to come in. And
I wanted to see him a little more. I wanted to see Justin Louis a little more.
Louis isn't 100% back yet. He got jaw surgery. Louis took a ball to the face from Nick Hogue last year in practice, and it tore up his gums in his teeth, and it got really bad this year. So he had to leave his season to go get jaw surgery. So Louis isn't 100% back yet. That's why we didn't see him. I'm honestly not entirely sure why we didn't see Isaac Heslinga. He was on the roster for the first 2 matches, and then he wasn't for the last 2. Or was it Jesse who was off? No, Jesse.
Heslinga was on the roster against France. I think Elser was there early, and then they kind of swapped him out with the alternate thing that you can do now.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like, the thing is that Varga and Heslinga have been the 2 guys on that B team over the past couple of years. And Heslinga just brings a different side of things. So also Jordan Cannon will be joining this team. Matt Neves was originally picked as the alternate opposite, but he sustained a bit of an injury, a bit of a tweak during training, so they've decided to shut him down and bring, with Jordan Cannon, you've got another pro guy who's able to come in and hit at a high velocity. But there's there was never ever the goal with Team Canada to bring anyone else in. There is some rumors and some rumblings of some people potentially coming back for the World Championships. Honestly, I wouldn't think that Barnes would be one of them. As much as I love the Barn Cat, with what we have out there, I think it would just be a lateral move to bring Riley Barnes compared to what we have, and we might as well just run with our youth, right? So, if your name is Eric Lepke or Danny Demyanenko or Arthur Schwartz or Stephen Marr, then I think this, or maybe even Brett Walsh. Although we may have a bit of a setting controversy on our hand with the way that Max Elgert played. I was
going to ask about that,
especially with the way he ran that offense in the second game.
It really spurred the comeback against France from down 0-2, right?
Yeah, and then was really good. I thought was really good against Argentina as well. He just ran a good offense. So and Luke as well was way better on Sunday against Bulgaria than he was in the other 2 matches as well. So I love everything that I'm seeing from this team right now. There's a lot of good things happening. Oh, also Xander was an absolute monster. he was an absolute monster. So yeah, just good things all around for Team Canada. I think it's going to be, like 2022 was a rough watch at VNL for us. 2023 was a rough watch at VNL for us. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the case at all anymore with this team. This team knows how to battle.
I had a fun time watching Canada from afar this week, and I'm sure it would have been even better if I was. You're gonna
have a blast. Like I watched the replay of Bulgaria versus Canada.
That was a total clinic. Talk about like the way that your entire program feels when you end your week on a win like that is
in front of 9,000 fans.
In front of 9,000 fans is like a drug. I'm almost feeling it too with us beating Cuba on Sunday. But like that, the way that you guys pummeled a very tired, like you said, Bulgaria into the ground with authority, like absolutely no doubt about it, was extremely impressive.
But it was also there was like a moment after the match and everyone is standing up and the boys are clapping and I'm like just soaking on it. Like, this is amazing. 9,000 people were here today to watch volleyball, and that wasn't even our best our best crowd of the weekend.
Was it 12 or 13 in the France
12,
game?
Yeah, 12. Over 12. So then I went to go pee and I came back and everyone's still in the crowd. Everyone's still clapping for the boys, and it kept on going. The admiration for Quebec is real. And if you haven't heard me, I do have if you haven't heard me, Quebec has signed on for another 3 years. Ottawa signed on for another 3 years. VNL in Canada. Honestly, I think VNL in Canada is a little bit undefeated. I think we do it a little bit better than other people.
Every time I've been up, I've been blown away by the qualities of the events, man. It's great. This one, the organization, everything that we had in Quebec, a lot of love to the OSEG people and everything that goes down at TD Place. TD was amazing as well this time. Massive, really great crowds against Japan and Serbia on the weekends, but Quebec City was really special. Really, really special. You're gonna have a lot of fun when you come next year. Yes, I will. Good for Canada. Can we talk about my team?
Sure.
I would love.
It should be good.
Yeah. So I did 3 videos talking about our 4 matches total. I'm not going to go into that much detail. I am very happy and excited. The way that we turned a corner in just the eye test after the first 5 sets of volleyball that we played, got 3 donged by Ukraine, went down 0-2 to Iran, and any American fan would agree with me that like watching those games was painful. That was gross, bad, disgusting, sloppy, low quality, un-American volleyball. And I was really concerned. Like I've been trying to say all along that we're going to continue to do both identifying bad volleyball and also encouraging patience and support. And we're going to do those things at this entire Olympic cycle for the United States. But I was definitely not in a good mood watching those first 5 sets of volleyball that we played. Then we made some pretty substantial changes to start set 3 in the Iran game, and we turned it around. And by the end of that week, we looked like an actual team. And not only did we look like a team, we looked like Team USA. There were elements of the volleyball that we played, especially like the way we played in transition, the way we ran the offense down the middle of the court by the end of the week, that reminded me of USA. And for a bunch of kids that are that young, who have, I'd say 9 out of the 12, or I guess 11 out of the 14 on the roster, had really never done that before. Had never been in a moment like that before. That they came together and that they learned and adjusted so quickly within the week is the most encouraging part of it to me. I think we now have a lot of good energy and vibes to build upon after coming back. I mean, the Slovenia game was very winnable. I was annoyed at how we couldn't get it done after point 20 in that game, and I talked about it last night. But the Cuba game against a completely different opponent was super encouraging. I think Cooper Robinson is the future of our left side position. He already is pretty damn good and is going to get even better. I loved everything I saw from Quinn Isaacson. I thought Jeff Jendrick had a really bad first match, but finished the week phenomenally well. I felt real bad for Pat Gassman. I think Everett, you and I both wanted to see him more.
Bro, I've been on the Pat Gassman train for a while now. It's been years. Like even like when
I know,
like even in 2022, and I was like, why isn't Pat Gassman on the A team? Why is he in Gatineau with me on the B team? Like, what is going on?
so
why can he get no love? And why is he just? And if he gets no love, why is he just staying around for the punishment?
Well, he caught a bad break because he came in off the bench against Iran in that reverse sweep that we won and was the hero. He served the ace to win it in the 5th. Then he got the start against Cuba in match number 4, but he turned his ankle like 8 points into the match. So that's why you didn't really see him. Like he was a focal point of the game plan and just caught a terrible break and turned his ankle. So
yeah, I watched nothing of USA Cuba. So I just watched scores happen on my phone.
Yeah, so like you didn't see any numbers from Gassman because he hurt his ankle like immediately when the match started. So that was just a bad break for him. But he had his shoes on, was fully dressed by the end of the match. So hopefully he's going to be okay. Because I do want to see him play a little bit more. Quinn Isaacson was great. I thought both liberos improved toward the end of the week. I liked just how much better we got. Now that we started off playing so bad, Ukraine game was so bad, and that's nothing to slight Ukraine because I think they're one of the big winners in all of VNL this week, but we played terrible volleyball against them in the first 2 sets against Iran, and then within the span of 5 days, a team that young turned it around and made a lot of really good progress. So I am excited, and I think that we have reinforcements that we can call upon likely for Chicago that could produce some very good volleyball that week, like a little better in terms of the results than I was expecting. So I'm stoked. Want to try and bury me, or is that reasonable enough?
You're just here's the thing is that you're just not jumping into the water. Like you're just pussyfooting around the sides of it and playing both sides. I honestly think like you could have beat Slovenia because they were playing their third match in 36 hours and had gone to 5 the night before. And I think the fact that I think that's a missed opportunity.
I agree.
I do want to also address the fact of what do we think happens in the Iran match if Iran isn't getting bombed at the same time on that one.
I don't know.
I think that's another tough one. I don't know. You're up and down with all of this, and the general sentiment right now from the Discord is to bury you.
I don't care what any of them say. I don't care what any of my own fan base says. My own fan base is a bunch of stooges.
Okay. I'll let you talk.
Yeah,
let me talk here now. Overall, I have not watched the American team play that much. I'm excited to get to do so in person next week with you and to get a full sense of it. The only match that I kind of watched was the Slovenia match, and in that one they seemed kind of a little bit lost. Like you said, maybe it's because I haven't watched the Cuba match, but to me, Team USA wasn't playing a definitive style. They were kind of just reacting. Now they have some really good athletes on that team, and I think that's why they're able to kind of get by and do so. But from the limited amount that I saw and from what I was reading in the Discord, I'm not entirely sure, what. I guess I'll have to go back and watch that Cuba game to actually see.
Watch that and then listen to the video that I put out last night about where I talked about those matches in more detail. I got into that more, that I did think that the Slovenia game was a huge missed opportunity and our attention to detail was not good enough. I thought we got shredded by Slovenia's off-speed offense. Our block discipline was not good. And then our serving and serve reception after point 20 lost us the match. So definitely a missed opportunity with how Slovenia was with their calendar, because I do want to talk about the calendar this week. I think Slovenia was the biggest victim in the scheduling. But
they still went 3-1 with that.
Yes, they did.
Right. That's taking advantage of opportunities. I don't know. From you specifically, I do think it's a little disingenuous of being like, we need to temper expectations.
Yeah.
And then going on a rant after the Iran game and talking about the heart your team had. The heart that your team had.
There's a lot of heart
to beat down on a team that country was getting bombed.
Yeah, nobody knew that at the time. Certainly not me. So if anybody's calling for me to treat that game differently, I won't, because I had no idea what was happening.
No, but it does give a little bit of perspective on how they were playing at the time too. And yeah,
I'm happy.
It might be nice to show like a little bit of empathy in that situation. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very lukewarm on what I saw and the results I saw and what I've seen people talk about in the Discord on this USA team. So I'm excited to get to see what they bring to the table next week. Adding Shoji, from what it sounds like, adding Shoji to that roster is going to be a big help. On another note, do we think that Mason Briggs is an international level talent as a libero?
Yeah, I do. I think him and Kyle D'Agostino at this point are interchangeable to me. And Briggs is, I think, 7, maybe 8 years younger. So if I had to pick which one of them I would like to see like be the second libero on rosters, I would definitely say Briggs on age alone. I think his defense is slightly better than D'Agostino's, and his reception came along even over the course of this week that I've seen enough. But obviously, in games that matter, nobody will ever supplant Eric Shoji. So to me, it doesn't even really matter that much.
But what about Gabby Garcia?
Rough week.
Are we breaking that down to a rough week, or are we breaking that down to maybe him just not being the guy?
Well, I guess I'm not going to draw any conclusions about who players are or aren't, but the 4 matches that Gabby Garcia put together this week were not very good.
This is a guy who's played pro for quite a while now, right? Whose peers at his same age group are already starting for the national team, who still can't find a starting spot on like a top level club in Europe, and now who's a guy that has been training with the national team and has been in that gym for a couple of seasons. And like, you can't just say it's because he's new to this.
No, I won't say that.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that you were insinuating. I was just saying you as in general. So it's like to me, I'm looking at this Gabby Garcia thing, and I'm like, the clock's a ticking here. Like the clock's a ticking here for you to show us why you decided to move from Puerto Rico. Because like, man, if you had just stayed in Puerto Rico, you and Clifton Lawrence, would have been beauty. But hey, I don't know if you fit into this Team USA roster right now, bro.
Yeah, the one thing that Gabby can do and did this week is serve the ball. He was really good in that area, including off the bench as a serve sub. So at least I guess he's got that going for him. But his offensive game was not good enough. I think his shot selection right now is really limited. He clearly lacks the confidence to bring the ball across his body and attack the angles. I think the 2 shots that he wants to hit are high flat off the left side blocker and down the line. And both of those are pretty critical and pretty error prone. So he's spraying some balls out of bounds long. He is overcutting some balls out of bounds wide, thumb down. And then early in the week, he brought the ball down into the center of the block way too much. It was like alarming for a guy of that level of experience and that arm talent to be hitting such bad shots consistently. So he's got a lot of work to do, but fortunately, and one of the things that kind of saved our week in terms of the results was that Kyle Hobus came out of nowhere and was outstanding.
Where's he from?
He went to Cal State Northridge. He played for Innsbruck in Austria this past year, and that was a Champions League team. He actually played in the VLA in 2022 and won MVP of our biggest tournament that year. So I had seen him a little bit. He was a left side at that point. He's real smooth. He hit all the shots that I just said I wanted Gabi to hit more of. He was actually able to see the block and hit the ball down into the court. He wasn't just preying on block deflections. And he was better on the left side than Gabi, I think, is. So I was really encouraged by that. And being able to bring him off the bench helped us have a better week than we would have if we had just given Gabi like every point of every set.
Fair enough. What is your feeling on the left side depth right now? Because I know you guys have 3 incredible left sides not playing right now. Let's just put that out there with TJ Jishki and Aaron Russell. All 3 of those guys are world class guys. All 3 of those guys are guys that you can win with on the left side. Like let's just put that out there. But after that, you have Cooper Robinson. Did you see anything from Ethan Champlin or any of the other guys that made you think, yeah, these are guys that we can run with in the long term?
Yes, I did. I talked about Robinson a lot. I really do think he's the future. The more like traditional L2 smaller ball controller type of guy is a role that can be filled by Ethan Champlin and or Jordan Ewert right now. Both of them played a lot, or Ewert played a lot this week, more than Champlin did. Champlin played the whole match against Cuba, and I thought he was awesome. He was really, really good. And
are you worried about your passing numbers? in general from this team?
They're not good. I wasn't expecting them to be good. Am I worried? No. Was I thrilled with the first contact? No. But like in the long term, am I worried? No, not really. It just kind of as I expected for a team that had never seen international serves before.
But like a lot of these guys have, like a lot of these guys played VNL last year.
Our receivers, the only receiver who played VNL last year was Ewert.
Jordan Ewert,
and he played 1 week. So no, 2 weeks. Sorry, he played weeks 1 and 3. So like that's the only guy who I expected a little more from in the reception category. Everybody else, I'm very happy with them doing what Eric Shoji told them to do on this very channel, and that's fight the ball off and not get aced. Because when we did that, we were able to manufacture things and scramble and make it work. And our block coverage, our backcourt defense, I thought really improved later in the week. When we didn't get aced, we gave ourselves chances to win more points, obviously. So I think that came true what Shoji said, and that area of the game I didn't expect to be amazing, and I thought it was par for the course.
Just pointing out Canada's serve receive situation very similar. Our numbers are quite a bit better.
Yeah, congratulations. We have 3 world-class left sides and the best libero.
Good, great. We're talking about this like you can't just do that. You can't just hide behind that every single time. We're talking about these teams now.
Yeah,
right.
And I've told you what I think about him. I'm
okay,
encouraged, but I didn't think the reception was good, nor did I think it was going to be good.
Okay, I'm just going to point that out, that you no longer have the right and no longer have the privilege of talking about Canada's bad passing, as long as we are blowing you out of the water while also having rookies on our roster. So
come do it in my city, and then we'll see what the numbers say.
We'll do it in your city in front of a Polish crowd. It'll be great. I know the chat's gonna like that one. Is there
Polish
anyone
crowd?
on...
like that's breaking news? Of course it's going to be a Polish crowd.
I mean, it wasn't a French crowd when we played France and Canada. It was a Canadian.
Good.
It was a Canadian crowd.
Your crowds are better than ours. That's
anyone
not
else
news
on this roster that we think. I saw a lot of talk about Niggy. Is he up to the task? Like, do you think he is like A-team level material?
Probably not. And I think the reason for that is he's not big enough and he's a little too old at this point. His story is amazing and he can put up some decent numbers, but there were times, particularly in the Slovenia game, when opposing offenses, particularly opposing middles, were absolutely running circles around him. Jan Kozamernik made Matt Knigge look like he had never played volleyball before. So there's a lot of work for him and all of our middles to do in their blocking handwork and their eyes and just their mental processing speed. And that was a big issue early in the week that I did think got better. I give Knigge a lot of credit because he wasn't supposed to play at all against Cuba. He came in for Gaspin when he got hurt, and I thought he was super good. I think he was like 9 for 13 with no errors or something of that sort, and hung in there better against a team that runs a much slower offense, as you would expect him to do. But our middle blocker position is definitely one I'm concerned about, like long-term international depth-wise, because our middles that we have are either very old or you got kind of the one guy in the middle of the age bracket and Jeff Jendrick. Then you have a bunch of dudes that are young and small. So I am, especially early in the week, the position that I was most worried about was the middle blockers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not on the Merrick McHenry hype train at all.
Like, so neither was I in the beginning of the week, and then he turned it around impressively. I thought that he had no chance to hang in the blocking game because against Ukraine he was awful. But then against Iran and what was the other game he played? I think Slovenia.
We had one block against Slovenia.
Okay,
and 3 touches. I don't know. The only reason I say that is that the glazing. I will have to say this. I usually really like Anne-Marie and Emily as a duo for commentary.
Oh no.
I really like them.
I don't.
We all know you don't. We all know you don't. The absolute glazing for Team USA was so wild. It honestly seemed like they had a gun to their head and be like, say nice things about them or else. Like at one point, I remember there was a serve, D'Agostino overpasses it, And Emily Amon's like, oh, D'Agostino does such a good job at fighting off that ball. Like, it's not even a ball that he had to move for. It was a ball like hit right at him. No steps, overpasses the ball, and she's just there glazing him. She's talking about Merrick McHenry being dominant at a point when he had scored 13 points, halfway through his third match of the event. It was wild to hear just the absolute glazing from those two when it came to Team USA. You would have thought you were watching like the second coming of like the Polish team and all of these guys, not a team struggling to be at 2-2. Like it was absolutely wild, the glazing that we saw from the American commentators in week one.
I completely agree. I thought it was unprofessional and not representative of reality. I think that comes mainly from two places. One is total lack of knowledge and preparedness. There was no respect given to the USA's opponents in so much of a way that a lot of the time, like some of the more obscure players who started for the opponents, they wouldn't even say their names because they didn't know them. The other thing is that now that some of our matches this week were on TV in the States, there was like some increased emphasis on, talking about the States for American television, but that actually makes it worse because now that we have all these new, like potentially new fans watching our games on TV, commentators that know actually what's going on are even more important because the context,
and also tell it straight too.
Yes, you have to tell the truth. You have to tell reality, and you have to tell the context of this team being a bunch of young kids who have never done this before, and they're like the actual Team USA who medaled in Paris last year, and none of them were around. So like that level of like communicating reality was totally missed, and it was not a good service to American volleyball.
No, not at all. It was a bit of a disservice. Key, we always love you. Anne-Marie and Emily, I'm like 99% on your side all the time, mostly.
They just can't call men's games, man. They can't. I can't listen to them call men's games anymore. I can't listen to them simplify the game only to, if you can pass the ball well enough, then you can run the middle. That's the only thing about volleyball either of them know.
They're like, I can't remember which match I was watching. It's like, and that's why you need to pass well so you can set the middle. And I was like, guys, this is volleyball 101. Please. You're both so much smarter than this.
You would think that they are. All right.
I will have to say though, because we had Rob Snoke and Jonathan Lagarde and Matt Prosser in Ottawa and Quebec, or no, we didn't have Prosser in Ottawa. That was the wonderful Claire Hanna. But I did think that, like, watching Rob and Jonathan and how much prep they do, like they do prep. They definitely spend their time on prep for sure. So
it's good. That's the least that anybody can do. You can always do that, whether or not you have the historical knowledge, the speed, the understanding, but the prep you can always do. That is the expectation.
Yeah, 100%.
Enough about my team. Tell me about the other couple teams that you saw in person.
Yeah, let me dive into to what I saw in Quebec City. Okay, where do we start? Let's start with Bulgaria because that was the last team I saw, and obviously a lot of people onto the Bulgarian team. Actually, no. Fucking first and foremost, let's start at the top here. Everyone wants to know Amir Tiziualu or Moni Nikolov.
Yeah, tell me. You saw them both. You talked to agents.
It's Moni, not even. It's like I like Tiziualu. Give him to me now. Like, I would take him in Canada in a heartbeat. But Moni is special.
Yeah,
Moni is special. I got to see Micah Christensen set when he was like 16, 17. He has that type of aura to him. Maybe even more. I won't lie. He just understands the game, and he does things at certain times that I didn't even see as a possibility, and he's so offensively minded as well too, that you have to treat him as an on attacker every single time. And Bulgaria is really good at passing really tight, like a little too tight. But they're really good at passing tight. And just because he's so tall, like you really don't realize how tall you are until you're like interviewing him.
He's every bit of 6'9". He is massive.
But he moves well, and his comfortability around the ball is incredible. I said it a few times in one of my live streams, is that his looks, like he gets to the spot very efficiently, And also there's some new FIVB rules this year for VNL that they're testing out that I did a breakdown with one of the refs that I'm gonna make a video on this week.
Nice.
But his like other setters, like get to their spot, quick look to see what their hitters are, or like quick look to see what the blockers are doing. Moni will straight up get there, look, and make eye contact with his hitters. He has such a presence of mind, like he knows where the balls are, like the ball is at all time. And also when you look at him, like you can tell that he still's growing to do. Like you could still tell he's a boy in like almost a man's body. And you can also see that through some of his decision making, like especially down the road in the Canadian match and earlier on too, like especially in the Italy match. Sometimes he just tries to do too much, right? He clearly tries to do too much, but I don't think he's trying to do too much in the sake of like trying to just make things like just doing too much to be like, oh, this will be cool. Like I think he's just thinking at that level, and he hasn't really connected things just quite yet.
Then his skills outside of just setting are so ridiculous. Like his pure physical dominant ability in the blocking game, and then the serving, like the two aces that he ripped in a row to win the Argentina game were ridiculous. I can't even imagine
the attitude and the swagger. Awesome. That's actually another thing that I wanted to say about Brody Hofer. I absolutely loved the swagger and the playing to the crowd that Brody was doing, but Moni's the same way, with maybe even a little bit more of an edge to him. Like he understands that he's a star, and he understands that the people are there to see him, and he plays to it. And he can do that. Now, how that evolves in him as him looking to be a champion, like that remains to be seen. But I really liked what I saw from Amir Tiziualu. I really liked what I saw from him.
It sounds like he's in the middle of quite the interesting contract situation right about now.
Sounds like it is. It is too. But if you put Moni on that French team,
oh my god,
that French team goes 4-0.
Oh my god, yeah,
truly, that French team goes 4-0, right? Because when you look at that Bulgarian roster, he has Alex, he has the Petkov in the middle, and Venislav Anton on the right is all right, but he's another young guy. Like him and Moni have played together quite a bit, but they just don't have that much. So he really plays around everything just to be able to open things up for Alex. And Alex is a fucking man. Holy shit. He hits the ball different.
Yeah, we saw him, what was it, 3 years ago in Ottawa? You were telling me that you can, like, he looks like a different player, and just how much he's grown up and how much more muscle he's putting behind the ball. And I mean, that makes sense. He's 21 or 22 now. He's a pretty much a grown man. And I mean, people were talking down on Alex Nikolov's numbers. Like, you don't understand what it takes when you have at least four hands in front of you on every single swing that you take. That's the difference with even France's youth team, who was there this week, that Tiziualu is setting, because they still have so many more options and so much more balance than Bulgaria has.
Yeah, way more. Like whoever is the P2 on Bulgaria and at any moment, whether it's Asparuhov or Antonisov, any of those guys, they're very much like. And even in the Bulgaria match, like I'd be watching, and Moni would go to set to the outside, and I'd be like, "Oh, he's moving away from the pipe. Alex is in the pipe. This is fine. This is fine." Like as soon as I realized that Alex Nikolov wasn't an option, there was a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah,
for us. But I do think that like there's a bit of a vibe around that team, and there's a bit of a vibe around how they're doing some things. So
I really liked Ilya Petkov. I liked your interview with him. He was a cool dude, and he seemed like he was. Like the spirits were high, and just like kind of like I was saying when we talked about Moni going to Russia before national team season, like Bulgaria has a chance right now to really turn their identity around a corner. They don't have to just be the poor man's version of Russia anymore, which is kind of what they've always been, play style wise. And it seems like just the mentality with which they're approaching volleyball is a little bit less Bulgarian and a little bit more like Western European almost. They're having a tiny bit more fun when they play. They're like enjoying the moments a little bit more.
They do have a lot of fun when they play, much maybe to the dismay of Langini. You know, I will have to say there's some tensions. As much as there's some good things happening right now, there's some tensions around the Bulgarian Federation. Mostly because of the Nikolovs as well too, and mostly because of Nikolov Senior as well,
yeah.
and his involvement.
He
in
pulls
the
a
Levski
lot
Sofia.
of strings.
Yeah, well, and mostly because of his involvement in the Levski Sofia club, and I guess differentiating points of views from the federation. So it's going to be an interesting situation, I think, to watch over the years. So Bulgaria,
they've got VNL at home in 2 weeks.
True. That'll be very interesting. So Bulgaria, a lot of potential. The thing is, though, is that I think everyone, especially because like Moni was a bit of a highlight reel this in week number 1, like he did a lot of shit, like a lot of cool shit, and like that's what's going to happen. But people are going to be ready for it.
Oh yeah,
and like it's going to be tougher for him over the course of the VNL and then through the World Championships, and into his year at Lokomotiv this year, just because of how much attention he attracts. But hey, that's what makes the greats. Moving on.
Tell me about France. You just talked about Amir.
France,
2-2 with a lot of youth. I think that's like
France.
Okay.
France without Klevno would have been a bit of an issue. Would not have been as good. Like if you're talking, and this is without Matisse Heno getting injured this week. Like if you're talking of a France when you're starting Heno and Poitron, like that's not a France that I'm scared of with like my current like just take out Klevno from that situation and we win that game 3-1, or maybe even 3-0.
Also, no way France beats Italy without Klevno.
No way that France beats Italy without Klevno as well. So yeah, like I think Matisse Heno is going to be pretty good. Like Théophore was super solid for them. I think Tizi Ouellou is going to. Don't get me wrong. I know Berkay is probably somewhere like crying himself to sleep while he listens to this, but Tizi Ouellou is going to be a really good setter.
Yeah,
like in 10 years' time, they're going to be the two. They're going to be the two top setters in my opinion. Boniface might be there as well too because they're all in the same age group. He didn't look as good for Italy this week, but we'll touch on that in a second. But he just doesn't have the magic that Moni has yet. Technically, he's a really good setter. He's big, he's tall, he delivers the ball well, he can push it up all the way, but it just gets a little basic sometimes. It just gets a little. You can very much read what's coming against him, and if you don't have a Trevor Klevno, who's an absolute, that man could just do almost anything.
What a great choice to bring him week 1. That was the exact right veteran to throw in the mix with these young kids.
Even just getting to watch him at practice and stuff like that, he's the perfect guy and the perfect temperament for that guy. But talking to Gianni about it, I even talked to him after the last match, and he was pretty chill about it all. And when you're
Gianni's never really been not chill.
Yeah, exactly. So so it was France I thought was pretty solid. Guy in the middle hits angles like no one I've ever really seen before. Like he hits down, but he's always hitting back to one. And once people are going to pick up on that, like I don't think that'll be that big of an issue. Both Poitron and Matisse Heno were pretty impressive to me. Théophore was good, nothing great. Like I don't know, he's kind of been at the same level for the same little bit. I was looking to see Théophore be one of the most dominant players out there this weekend.
Yeah,
and that's not what we saw from him at all.
Yeah, his numbers, you're right. They were good, not great. I think the Discord was saying that both setters, both Tizi Ouellou and then my boy Chaboisson, weren't setting him the ball super well. I think that will improve over time. But the summary that you gave is spot on. That this particular France without Trevor Klevno might even go 0-4 because they got upset by Germany in the last one. Klevno really was the guy that turned it on that 5th set against Canada, and then.
It was Klevno all in all.
It was that big service run
at 1-1 or 2-1, whatever 2-1 it was.
6
and all of a sudden starts uncorking rippers, and he's been floating all game.
Yeah.
Right. And our team, I mean, we just brain farted at that moment and couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
and
it's just a dude who's on another level who just says like, all right, that's enough.
A dude who's won two Olympic golds. Moving on, Argentina was Argentina.
Yes, they were.
The thing is that they were like, it's all guys that we've pretty much know. Like Gomez on the opposite was a kind of a newer guy, and I thought he was all right at times, but like, you know, like it's still Martinez, Franchi, and Gallego, and Lozaire,
Kukartsev a little bit.
Kukartsev, like Sanchez setting, Giraldo is their backup. Like, not really much to say about this Argentinian team. I was disappointed about how we showed up in the fifth set against them once again, but just one of those things. Polonsky looks really good right now, but probably the best I've seen him in a little while, like the best I've seen him in person in the past couple of years. So that was really good to see. Vincentine was a little bit up and down. There was a little bit of drama at one point between Kukartsev and Mendez, where they kind of went at each other.
Interesting.
I think during the Canada game, and then was sat in the second game. I don't know. I was sitting with his agent. He was talking to me about it. Different agent. I met a bunch of agents this week, so
I bet there are a lot of them there. The one other guy I saw from Argentina was this Ignacio Luengas kid. Sorry.
What do they call him? It's like Taco or something like that. No, Nacho.
Yeah,
no,
Ignacio is shortened to Nacho a lot in Spain.
Yeah, they call him Nacho. He was pretty good too. I forget where he plays.
I had never heard of him.
Yeah, he was decent. Honestly, in my head, he reminds me of Nicolas Campogrosso, who is the Argentinian blocker for their beach team of the Campogrosso brothers. So from afar, that's what he looks from him. And talking to my good friend Sol Di Diego, who's Argentinian and works for Volleyball World, she also confirms that that's was his lookalike. But yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of solidness from Argentina, but nothing really special that shows to me that like they've got someone up and coming that's going to be the next, going to push them over the top again.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. They had a total mixed bag of a week. You can really, roll a dice.
It's also tough when you show up late on Tuesday, go straight to practice, and you play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
But and they won those first two games, which I think was the most impressive part. Like they beat France on Wednesday after like getting there maybe 12 hours before. That was legitimately really impressive. But then later in the week they get 3 dong by Bulgaria. So like
that was towards the end of the week they were tired.
Right. And the third set against Italy, like that was one of the sets of the week, 37-35. Like Argentina was up big. They were up, I think, was it like 21-16 or something like that, and blew it in that overtime.
Yeah, they weren't clutch all that. And that's what I'm saying is that like this Argentinian team, I feel like the Argentina in the past, even though they've had these really great spikes, has always just kind of like middled around. And right now, like as fantastic as Sanchez is, he's not DeCheco.
No,
and he's really small. So
great question by John in the chat. Where the hell is my boy Manuel Armoa? I'm like waiting for him to be like a guy for them, and he's not even on the roster.
I think he was dealing with working on some things. Yeah,
I don't know what that means, so we're gonna leave it at that.
I asked Polonsky briefly, and then I just didn't really get a chance to talk to him afterwards.
All right.
I was trying to get at least one more interview. I was trying to get an interview with Polonsky and Vincentine at the same time, but it just never really worked out with how matches ended up. Moving on to Italy. Italy was Italy.
Yep.
We saw Boniface start, but I mean, like, they're just too opposed to ever losing, so they would bring in Gianelli every single time. One of the things that like shows how good Moni is, but how not ready he is to be one of those top tier setters, is when he was up against Gianelli and just how different those things looked. And that in my head, it was very much, and I even asked Gianelli about this, so you can go check out my last interview with him against Argentina, is that, I asked him about Moni, and he was like, yeah, I was looking forward to playing against them. And you could tell too that he was there and ready to play for that game, because he wanted to go up against Moni and make sure that Moni knew that, he was the king. And he did. Like, that man is special. He's improved quite a bit since when we saw him in person in 2022.
Gianelli?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, he's really good. But it was a tough go with Italy, just because they had a bit of a different roster. Rich Licky into that team looks really good. He adds a lot. with the pairing of him and Romano, I think is fantastic. On the left side, I thought they struggled a little bit. I was expecting a little bit more from Botolo. He clearly wasn't ready. Once again, you can check out my last interview with him. He talks about how he needs at least like a kind of 1 or 2 months to really integrate from club to national team. And he's still doing that throughout. Luca Porro is outstanding. I love watching that man play.
He's really dynamic.
He's really dynamic, and he's just a volleyball guy. The way he moves, the way he passes, the way he sees things is really awesome. Francesco Sani, very interesting how he's on the roster, because basically he was approved by the FIVB because he has an Italian passport and spent time growing up in Italy, and that his time playing for the American national team was negligible. He didn't need to be naturalized. So he's like just a straight up straight up Italian, and that's why they can have him and Richicki at the same time.
That's what I thought. Because he didn't. Maybe it's because he didn't play for the American senior team or whatever it was. He's just straight up Italian. Yeah, and
there's a little bit of work there to go with him. And you're looking at the depth. I think he probably sits around 5th. I would put him ahead.
That's about right.
I would put ahead of Ricine, but behind Botolo and Porro.
I think that's exactly fair, and that is reflective of the roster that Italy is sending to Chicago, because they just announced it, and it's sure enough Micheletto, Lavia, Luca Porro, Mattia Botolo, and it's basically as close as they can do to an Olympic roster. So that's going to be sick to see in person.
Yeah. So Italy is I really wish I was free this weekend so I could go to Gatineau and watch them play with Micheletto and Lavia, but we're going to get to see Micheletto and Lavia play next weekend. So not too worried about that.
Last but not least, you saw Germany.
Germany was a tough one because they were the last team to win, the last winless team to win this weekend. But this is a team that was, had lost 3-5 setters. But also this is a team that, when you're looking in terms of lack of depth, you don't have any of their Olympians from last year on this roster.
Is it really
no Grosjean, no Grosjean, no Weber, Tila,
neither setter, none of the left sides, none of the middles. Wow.
Yeah, Julian Zenger is now retired.
Really? Okay, that's
yeah. Essentially, he needed a surgery. I think it was a heart surgery. And that, don't quote me that, but he needed a surgery, and basically doctors apparently shut him down. So Zenger's done. But yeah, so Germany has a bunch of secondary players. Eric Roars is a guy that I'm still trying to make my mind up on. I think he has all of the physical attributes, but then he just makes dumb plays sometimes. Ball comes over on an overpass and you guys are leading by 1, and instead of punching it down, you side set it to the setter who's been subbed out, so you have a dumpy middle in position 2, and you side set it to him, or just makes bad errors at bad times.
That's the most Monza description ever. That's exactly how Monza was this year.
He torched us in the first 2 sets in the Germany game, and I really think that I think we saw the genius of Dan Lewis's coaching a few times, especially in that Germany games, in terms of what we were showing in our blocking schemes early in the game compared to late to the game. Because early in the game, he was torching us down the line, just going down the line, and Discord was popping off we need to switch our blocking schemes. We did partway through the 3rd set, and then all of a sudden he couldn't get anything down on us. But overall, this Zimmerman was running the offense. And down the middle, they're going to be good.
Torvi
and Torvi, Simon Torvi. Holy shit. He tied a VNL record for blocks with 8 blocks in that last match in the win against France, right?
Yeah, 18 on the week, led the whole tournament.
He's a big boy. He's a big body. Holy shit. Honestly, it's probably a good thing that he didn't go play for Ohio State, because I'm pretty sure the football team would have picked him up. He is that type of body. No doubt about it. And he's really physical. When you think about the Germans, they got Bremer, Massa, and Torvi. Ooh, that's a nasty grouping.
I love Torvi too, because growing up, he was an opposite. So he There's a
Oh,
part
he
of it.
rips from the
I know.
baseline.
He
Rips from
serves
the baseline.
He serves like an opposite, and there's like a part of his brain that I think still thinks a little bit like an opposite, which I absolutely love. And
He doesn't play like a middle.
no, he
Like,
doesn't.
he
And
just plays like a big body,
like
in the middle.
a big good volleyball player, which I
Yeah.
absolutely love. And the part of his blocking game that I liked the most was what he was doing against the middles. His reactions and his read commit game, like the balance of being able to do it all, fronting or chasing or having his hands high or reacting. He did it all and got great touches and stuff, blocked a bunch of dudes. And
he's going to be an asset in Trentino, and especially once he starts learning how to play that style and that level too, is going to be really good. On the right side, I think is one of the most interesting players was Philip Yon. He has a very, very interesting swing.
His arm is weird.
It's so they call it a Korean swing, where it's very high above and it's all just speed. It's all just about like rotation through. And he's like one of the few people that I've ever really seen in the men's game load with a high elbow and then just kind of like swing through it.
It's sort of Luberich like, just a little bit.
No,
Luberich has like this really elbowy arm that I thought was kind of similar.
No, Luberich's elbow arm is more of a snap, like it's more strong. Like Yon, like he comes really high through. Like it's all about the speed of his hand through the ball as opposed to like hitting the ball hard. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
And first of all, he looks like Mose Schrute, which I think is hilarious. But also too, like, it kind of works because he just gets up there, waits, and then fast arm, and he's just able to abuse blocks that way or find holes that way. And the ball, when you're watching it, he doesn't hit it hard. So I feel like even when I was just watching baseline, I'd kind of like, and then it would come to me so fast. It would like be on you so quickly. It's odd, but I do feel like he's one of those guys that once people figure him out, will kind of shut him down a little bit more.
I could definitely see that. You know,
like once, like after a year, things could kind of like fizzle out for him a little bit.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. All right, that's a good summary of all the teams you saw in person. I watched most of the Canadian games. I mean, they were almost at the same time as the games in Brazil for the most part. So I was sitting in here watching two screens and got a decent download on those teams. Can I talk about some other teams from this week that I think are winners?
Can I just, because there's one thing that I want to address in the chat.
Yeah,
is the people was like Weber's situation, and it was talked about. I think someone sent me either a tweet or an article, or maybe it was in the press conference. But essentially, all of the players who aren't on the roster requested to have the summer off and were granted to do so. For whatever reason.
So nobody was like excluded.
No one was excluded. No one is being phased out. If you're wondering where Weber is, it's just because he requested to have the summer off. That's the only thing is happening there. Okay. So put away your pitchforks. You don't need to go after Winiarski.
That's good. I mean, Weber has been so good and kind of given himself a career renaissance in the Plusliga. He deserves another shot playing for Germany for sure.
Yeah. I think he needs to be the guy.
Agreed.
I agree. I think he needs to be the guy for sure.
It does them a disservice to continue to roll out Grozer quad after quad after quad. All right. Two teams this week that I think pleasantly surprised everyone, Everett. The first is Ukraine. Ukraine going 2-2 this week is a win for them for sure.
I will say this is based off the little bit that I saw from how they beat you up on the from the baseline. I don't think we would have beat Ukraine in week 1 in that first match either. Like the way that they were playing in that first match, they were just like pop.
Yeah, it was a bad opponent.
Then again, I think we are a better passing team than you right now. So
you very well may be, but like we played really, really badly in that first match. But even if we had played significantly better, especially first contact, we may not have beaten Ukraine still because they looked like they were the most ready team to enter VNL for the first time of any team I'd ever seen come into this level.
How many of those guys play for Lviv?
Not as many as I kind of thought.
No.
But
also, like, once again, like these are guys that, like, take Plotnitsky out. You've got a bunch of guys who have been playing together for a while. Like,
for the most part,
This isn't dudes who are showing up and being like, "This is the start of a new quad. Let's see what our young guys can do." Yeah.
No, you're right.
Like, they're sending out men.
this is their A team, and these are grown men, and they, like, a lot of them, they made a pretty good run at the World Championship in 2022, if I remember right. I think they won a bracket game and got to like the round of 8. So they've tasted some international success, but like they looked legitimately pretty good. I mean, Tupci was a demon from the baseline. He was awesome serving. Kovalov was good on the left, just scoring in volume. Yuri Semeniuk, I think, was my personal favorite middle blocker I watched all week, and that even includes Simon Torwi, because of how much volume he got and how big of a focal point he was of that team, getting him the ball as much as possible. Like, speaking of like good middle blockers that ran circles around the U.S. middles, Semeniuk made us look foolish in that first game. And I thought that they played really well. And then they turned around and beat Cuba in the next game. And Cuba is Cuba, and Cuba is weird. But then they took 2 sets off Brazil in Rio. And then they kind of ran out of gas and lost another 5-setter to Iran at the end of the week. But like 7 points for Ukraine in their first week of VNL is a win for sure. I was really
they're not
impressed
getting they're not getting relegated.
No,
actually, who knows what's going to get relegated with this much parity, like so much parity across,
so much parity.
Like, there's not like I think you deserve you like China deserves an apology from you.
Yep, that's what I was going to say next. So China is the other massive winner this week, going 2-2 at home. Now, I will say the 2 teams that they beat, Serbia and the Netherlands, are the 2 worst teams in the tournament. So I am interested to see them come to Chicago, because I'm going to get way more just information and a feel for that team. Because like I watched a little bit of the games, but they were on the other side of the world. It was just not an easy team for me to get a download on. For the most part, I was just like waking up and stunned by the results of China winning games. Obviously, they lost to Japan. They did get 3-0 by Turkey at the end of the week, and in a game that Turkey needed badly. Otherwise, they would have been the biggest losers of the week for sure.
That might they are my biggest. They are my Turkey. You are my biggest embarrassment.
I think they might be as well.
I believed in you. You were the chosen one.
They were a huge disappointment. But I think that if there's one conclusion I can take from China, the little that I watched them, it's that Vital Heinen raises their floor. They're not going to be as embarrassing as they have been before on Vital Heinen alone.
Here's the thing, Rob. If China beats you in Chicago, June is coming on for an episode. Like we're bringing on June from the Discord.
That's fair
as
enough.
A piece.
And then China didn't even have their best player this week. Like Zhang Jingyin is hurt and didn't play. So if we lose to China without Zhang in Chicago, then I deserve to be clowned tremendously. It would be the same as the U.S. women losing to Korea, which thankfully we didn't do.
No. Shut the fuck up. That's one of the dumbest things you've ever said. There's no way that you losing to China, this Chinese men's team, is the same as losing as Korea.
You're right. It's not as embarrassing as that. But
that is an offense. That is an offense to the Chinese men's team. And there's 2 wins. There's 2 wins that they already have.
All right, great. You beat Serbia and the Netherlands. Congratulations. Prove it to me in Chicago against better teams.
You beat Cuba and Iran. You're in the same boat.
Yeah, we are like a bunch of 21-year-old children.
No, you're not. Those guys are like 25 on average. You do not have any 20-year-olds. Like Cooper Robinson's like one of them.
Andrew Rowan is 21. Like whatever.
Isaacson, Gassman, Ewert, like McHenry, D'Agostino. How many of those guys have been playing pro for multiple years? Like you can't play the children card with your team. You can't.
As far as
you have a couple
USA,
of children, maybe.
Sure. Well, whatever.
No, you cannot.
China.
You cannot.
I want China to prove it to me in Chicago, because we'll see them and they'll play better opponents. But 2 wins is, I mean, I picked China to go 2-10, and they already have their 2 wins. Maybe that's all they'll get, maybe not, but they're definitely a winner of the week, because again, Vital Heinen raises their floor. And did you see Heinen's quote after they beat the Netherlands?
No, I saw nothing.
Dude, Heinen said, I grew up something like 30 kilometers, like just over the border from the Netherlands in Belgium. Everything I've been built to do my entire life has been about beating the Netherlands. I thought that was so funny. The man can hold a grudge.
Yes, he can. That's why, like, I'm very interested to see you guys play China. I won't lie. I think that's gonna be a good game.
I don't. You also play China in Chicago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
The pressure is on both of us to take care of that team.
Two teams with systems, Canada and China against a team whose system we don't really know.
Yeah, I think China goes 0-4 week 2. They play USA, Brazil, Italy, Canada. I think they go 0-4. But you got to give them credit. They won 2 games.
That is a tough week for China.
You mentioned this team a minute ago that needs to be clowned upon. They were named by the Discord in our weekly superlatives as the disappointing team of the week. Turkey, figure it out, y'all. How can you do so little with so much?
So little.
It's crazy.
Like, I don't even care that you didn't have Addis for this first week. You had everyone else, and Gerbuz is a fucking monster. Like, Gerbuz has the ability to throw up 30 bombs. And you guys almost laid an egg.
This Umut Çakır guy might be on the chopping block again. You just refuse to hire head coaches with a brain.
And I honestly, once again, anything that happened outside of Canada, I know very little about, so I can't tell you why. But it literally, or Turkey, do better.
Yeah, oh my God, yes.
Like for the amount of shit you guys talked about us after you beat us one time in 2022, to thus being the most disappointing national team in international volleyball, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Ashamed.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys need to go naturalize a Cuban. Maybe that's what you need. Or maybe a nice little Romanian for you.
Worked out pretty well for their women. They did beat China at the end of the week to salvage what would have been an abject disaster. I mean, if they had gone 0-4, that might have been fireable for a lot of people right there. You get 3-0 by Poland's C team, tough. The worst part to me was that in the Serbia-Netherlands losses, they won the first set in both of those matches and then got kind of stomped the rest of the way, particularly against Serbia. So Turkey was really bad. And I mean, you picked them to make the playoffs. I picked them to get 9th. And right now their schedule week 2 is not easy. Their schedule week 3 is not easy. This we might be talking about the R word here.
You're not wrong. And Rob, I cannot wait till the week after VNL is done and we can go back and we can make another video.
yeah.
What happened to our predictions?
That's going to be phenomenal content.
We are just going to get fucking clowned.
Good.
Watch Japan's women win it all and just fuck us up.
God,
bad.
yeah, that would
just waves of Japanese people telling us how fucking stupid we are.
Fine. That's totally fine. That'll be a great video when we do it. The other team who is really bad is Serbia. Dead last in the standings right now. I mean, it's tiebreaker, so whatever. Their only win was against Turkey. They got 3-donged by everybody else they played, including China.
What makes Turkey and Serbia the most disappointing to me is that they didn't even go youth movements.
Right.
They didn't even go hey, let's just throw kids out there, or mid-20s in the American way, in the American sense, who have no experience. Let's just see how it happens. It's no, we're gonna throw our guys out there and we're still gonna suck.
The Serbian Federation needs to figure it out from a top-down perspective, and we're going to talk about their women later on because they're hosting this week in Belgrade. But they have no identity. They have no system. They have no youth pipeline that we know of. They just don't really have anything. They are rolling out a bunch of over-the-hill dudes, especially in the ball control positions, and they look bad. I mean, they started Veljko Masulovic all week on the left side. He spent this whole year in Italy playing opposite. He's left-handed. I have never seen the guy pass a ball ever. And that's your best option next to Marko Ivovic, whose bald spot makes him look even older than he actually is. Why am I still watching Nikola Jovovic set in the year 2025? What are we doing? Serbia's men will get better, somebody in the chat says. But how? How? Who do they have to go to?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's not if I look at Canada's roster, we got a bunch of guys who are still new to the VNL. Those guys are going to get better. Same thing the American rosters. You guys are going to add different guys. A bunch of rosters can add guys. Serbia can't add guys, and their guys are all old.
It's not a recipe for success, man.
No, not at all. Big shout out to Michael Agi from the Dutch.
Top
I
30.
called him to be able to good. So he was one of the first 30 bombs.
Yeah, was it him, Amin, and then Nick Mujanovic? I think were the three guys to eclipse 30 points this week. That was the Dutch. The win against Turkey was huge for them. That there's a chance that keeps them alive in the VNL by the end of this thing. I really think the bottom three right now, Turkey, Netherlands, Serbia, one of those three gets relegated. I think that even Iran might have done just enough. Even Cuba might have done just enough. Like those three teams that played each other in a triangle in Xi'an are bad. The Netherlands is not good. They just they played okay one set against Poland, but they got beat by China. They got stomped by Japan, and then they had the one win against Turkey because IE was so good. Like that. That's not a very good team either. But you got to give IE credit for the 30 bomb for sure.
Definitely.
All right, let's keep moving kind of up the list of standings a little bit. Cuba is the most Cuban version of Cuba that ever did Cuba.
Honestly, do we need to talk about these other teams at this point here? Like,
Briefly.
is there any? But even briefly, like, no need to talk about Slovenia. Like, Slovenia is good and whatever. But
Slovenia, I want to talk about because of the schedule. I think Slovenia is the case study of what the hell are we doing to our athletes in this Volleyball Nations League, man. Four matches in 5 days, condensed from 4 matches in 6 previously, is not sustainable for athlete health. It's just not. Especially when you're scheduling Slovenia to play 2 games in, I think it was 16 hours. They finished a 5-setter against Iran at like midnight local time, and then turned around at like 2 p.m. local time and played the U.S. the next day. Like that is not, it's not acceptable scheduling. Like that can't happen. These teams are playing far too much. It's going to reward teams that have depth that can have enough bodies to get in the mix. But like, it's not good for your own athletes, volleyball. It's going to keep being a problem too.
just not when you play the U.S.
Yeah, they beat us.
Anyone else you want to talk about from this week?
Cuba beat Brazil in Rio again.
Yeah, we know that. That's always going to happen. Not they get up like truly. I bet you, like the only way that those Cuban players get hard is by watching porn of Brazilian women. Like that is the only way for them to get up is to play Brazil.
Thanks.
Anyone else they do not give a shit about.
Marlon Yant led the tournament in scoring for whatever that's worth, but that's because he played every single point. And like Cuba losing, Cuba losing to Slovenia, fine. Losing to Ukraine is tough, and then losing to us, like our particular group that week, is not a good look for Cuba. They need to figure it out. Maybe Robert Landy saves them just like emotionally in week 3.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious. Who did you think you were beating this week, and who did you think you were losing to? Because you thought you were going 2-2.
Yeah, I thought we were going 2-2. I thought that we, like, between Cuba, Iran, and Ukraine, we could win 2 of those games. I figured we would lose to Slovenia. That's pretty much what ended up happening. It was just like that Slovenia game felt annoying because we really legitimately had a chance to win. If we played rested Slovenia, we probably get killed, especially with how good Nick Mujanovic was, man. I mean, he dropped 30 against Iran and then came off the bench for Tonček Stern, who we bottled up the next day and was completely unstoppable. Like, think of it like a closing pitcher. He came in and closed that game. I think he went like 12 for 20 with no errors off the bench in like a set and a half. He was sensational and is going to be really good. And is like if you're a Slovenia fan, they also got this young setter, this like Najdic kid, who I also thought was pretty good. Slovenia's youth, their stock really increased for me this week, and then they just kind of ran out of gas and lost to Brazil in Rio at the end of the week, and there's not really any shame in that.
Fair enough. All right, moving on. You want to move on to the women?
Let's see. Do we miss anyone? Iran, just a really difficult week for their whole country, so I don't want to draw any conclusions for them. And then Brazil is Brazil, even like young sort of B team transition Brazil, their floor is still pretty high.
Cool.
That's about it.
All right.
Women's
Moving on. Yeah. Women's week 2. This one, I mean, it's going to be a difficult one for any Canadian fans. It's going to be a tough one for us.
I think we should start
Van
there.
Ryk. No Kira Van Ryk. No Brie King.
Brie O'Reilly.
Bree Riley. Sorry, Bree. Bree looks like she might be out for the rest of the summer. Not looking good on that side of things. So we wish her the best in all of her recovery, but she is out. And now on the Kira side of things, from what I'm hearing, which none of my sources close to really close to the team were getting back to me in the time, and I haven't asked since the beginning of last week. But what I'm hearing essentially is that it was always the plan for Kira to miss 1 week, is that to take at least 1 week off.
Okay.
However, with what happened in week number 1, getting 2 wins, and with the injury to Bree, she essentially decided that she didn't know if she could handle a second week with the team, and that the team essentially decided it was better to go with a bit of a youth movement.
Honestly, I think for the long-term picture for the Canadian women, I think that's probably a good move.
Yeah, I agree too. The thing is that we have our best opportunity to get a win is
Korea.
Tomorrow morning against Korea. So right off the bat, we have to play Korea, which can either it can either go in one way, two of one ways. I can see here, Rob Sinclair. The first way is that we're still in that mindset of being champions, and like we haven't been beaten down by being a young team at VNL yet. Right. So it's the first match of the week. There's a lot of good vibes coming in from Ottawa. Like there's a lot of positivity there. You can kind of just grow with it. There's that. The other side of it is that like this team might not be ready to even play Korea yet. To be perfectly honest, without Bree and Kira.
I think that if you beat Korea,
if we beat Korea, it's done and over. Like we are completely fine.
You can lose the remaining 7 games of the tournament, and the tournament will be honestly a success. That Anna Schmreck is the only true opposite on the roster this week. You got what's her name? Raya Surinks, who played who won U Sports this year, that can play both, but is probably a left side internationally.
I saw her take some reps on the right when I was there with them in Ottawa, but yeah, she should be a left side internationally. So
Schmreck needs to play against Korea. I think she needs to play all 6 rotations, and she needs to make an impact. She needs to use her size.
She's not going to come off the court.
Good.
She's not going to come off the court. We need Anna Schmreck in there the entire time. And once again, if we hadn't, I'd be a lot worried if we hadn't gone 2-0 or 2-2 the first week.
Yeah.
Right. We should have potentially even gone, actually, no, never mind. We didn't even show up really against the Dutch. We should have gone 2-2.
2-2 is good.
If we could just get one more win seals it. I think you can have 3 wins and be safe from relegation.
Agreed.
So that's what we're going to be looking for. I'm going to need Schmreck to show up, but this team's identity is going to be much different.
Yeah,
much different.
So that is a bbig one. It's tonight at 4. It's 4:30 a.m. my time tonight.
Yeah, it's 5 tomorrow morning.
Tough one. So I'm gonna wake up and learn the results of that game, and we'll see what happens. That game's in Istanbul, Turkey. The rest of the teams that are there are Turkey, Brazil, Dominican Republic, Belgium, and Korea. Turkey has the squad.
On that note, I am also interested to see Pelland get more play time. I thought of all the rookies for Canada in the first week, Pelland was the most level-headed and the most ready to go. So I was just answering a message in the chat there from Map.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see this particular version of Turkey, new quad, mostly the same crew. They've got Vargas. I'm surprised they didn't also bring Karutsasu at all. It's Vargas is the only opposite on the roster. Zaragunes is back. Both
Karakurt?
I don't remember if I saw Karakurt listed as a left side or not. Let me look at that, because obviously that matters a lot. Yes, Ebrar Karakurt, Hande Baladin, Yaprak Erkek, Milia Diken, Celia Shahin. So 5 left sides. That's what they're rocking with. They play Brazil in the last match of the week, and I think that is going to be very telling for both teams, and I'm excited to see that. Until then, Turkey has Dominican, Canada, and Korea, and I don't really see them losing any of those 3 games.
No, they'll probably continue rolling for sure.
Same with Brazil. Brazil has Gabi back this week to combine with everybody else. Brazil has Belgium, Canada, Dominican. That's probably
Honestly,
3-0.
This pool in Turkey is only going to be interesting on the bottom half.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be Turkey and Brazil beating up on a bunch of nothing teams.
Yeah.
No offense to my own team, but we're down there now without all of our stars. No Alexa, no Bree, no Kira. Poor Emily's the only one out there holding things down.
Tough one, man.
Yeah. Although actually, Hong Kong at least has Japan.
Yeah, Hong Kong. So the next site's in Hong Kong. It's got China, Italy, Japan, Thailand, Czechia, Bulgaria. I think I won't speak for Everett, but I mean the whole tournament so far, we kind of thought that bottom group of 6 teams, one of those 6 was going to get relegated. I am officially in my own head shrinking that group to 5. Bulgaria, in my head, has graduated from the relegation.
Bulgaria is no longer in that relegation group. We'll take them out.
Yeah, sure. I'm with that. So to me, it's either Belgium, Korea, Czechia, Thailand, or France. One of those gets relegated to me. And Czechia plays Thailand this week in Hong Kong, so that should be maybe an important game down the line. The games that I think will be good are Italy playing both Japan and China. China plays both Japan. Great. So those 3 good teams all play each other. And those 3 games will be awesome. I'm excited to see if Japan can keep that incredible level from Ottawa going against 2 better opponents, because Italy's got basically the Olympic squad. And I mean, we don't totally know what to expect from China injury wise, but those 3 teams are good and they're going to play each other. And that's going to be like really informative.
Bulgaria, Italy is like early this morning.
Bulgaria, Italy is just after midnight my time. Wow.
That's a little too, especially if I want to wake up and watch Canada, Korea. Oh, it's so annoying that I'm waking up at 5:30 to watch Canada fucking play Korea. And we might lose. Like, I'm actually scared we might lose.
That's a tough alarm to set. That's a depressing alarm to set.
That is really tough.
Oof.
That is really tough. The only thing is that I'm on like a little vacation. So like today, I woke up, I lounged in bed for like 2 hours. I went for a run. And I was like, I'm gonna do things. Nope. Napped all day. just had a nap all day.
So. And you had, I think, Volleyball Source published something like 90 videos in the last like 3 weeks. So
yeah, it's been a lot.
Then a little busy.
It's been a lot. Also, like the 9 hours of driving yesterday. And I will say, Quebec, I love you. Je t'aime tellement. I love so much about the province. I love so much about that city. Your people are wonderful. Your culture is amazing. I love the language. I love speaking it. It makes me feel at home. But you guys are the worst fucking drivers in the fucking world. It just because it's a speed limit doesn't mean you drive under. You drive at or over the speed limit. Okay?
Your speed limits are low in your country too,
Holy
man. It would drive me nuts.
Also, why do you have like I had to like drive through some little towns? Why do you have lights on just regular timers? Like, why are main roads that are technically highways getting shut down, like getting stopped when there's no one coming either way? Why on the highways, like in Ontario, like if you're a truck, you stay in the right lane?
Of course.
Right? You stay in the right lane.
What kind of savage place doesn't do that?
If you need to pass, fucking Quebec.
Oh, God.
No care in the world.
Oh, God.
But once I get into Ontario, the only people who are riding the left lane as a trucker, fucking Quebecois.
Oh, no.
I love you. I'm French. I'm of your ilk. God damn it! Learn to drive, please. I've never hated socialism so much than driving on the fucking Highway 20. God damn it! No, we don't all have to get there at the same time. God damn it, Grandpa, out for a Sunday stroll. Oh my God.
Oh, Everett, I relate to you so much because oh my God, I would have the exact same frustration, probably worse. Oh man. Last but not least, women's this week. This is the site so far that is producing some headlines earlier in the week. It's in Belgrade, Serbia. Serbia, the United States, Poland, Germany, the Netherlands, and France.
Volleyball Source is actually going to be there.
Yes, we've got one of our guys from the Discord who is half Serbian. He is in Belgrade. He was at the press conference this morning. And the big piece of news that came out is while Tijana Bošković is on the roster, she is not expected to play at least the first match which very fortunately for me is against the United States, there's a chance she doesn't play the entire week with back soreness. Even more so, Alexandra Uzelac is out for the rest of VNL.
Ooh, that is a big loss.
That's enormous.
That's a huge loss for Serbia.
Uzelac hurt her shoulder.
Honestly, if they don't have Boskovic or Uzelac, it's Uzelac.
Uzelac, yes, thank you.
Yeah, Uzelac. And if they don't have her or Boskovic, they're not making the playoffs.
Well, they're already 0-4.
They might get fucking relegated.
They are in for a world of hurt this week, and I thought that this was going to be the week that they turned it around, playing at home, probably bringing Boskovic back, but like Uzelac's out for the rest of VNL with a shoulder, and then Boskovic questionable with a back. Like they could have a brutal week. And also, like, Zoran Terzic didn't even show up to the press conference this morning after not showing up to week 1 at all in Ottawa. Like, what the hell is going on with that federation? They're one of the wild cards in the whole tournament on the women's side, but I've got my eye on Serbia really closely this week. Poland has mostly the same roster. The Netherlands mostly the same roster. France has Cazot and Jiquel both back, so I expect them to be better. They have a tough schedule, though. Germany has Pia Kaestner back. And then the U.S., our roster is almost the same. We brought in Breon Butler, Dana Retke, and Lexi Rodriguez. So 2 middles and a libero. Everybody else is the same. Same 2 setters, all the same wings. And I implore the American fans to keep being patient because this might be a rough week. This might be a rough week in terms of results.
Bringing in, like, Butler and Retke to me are like 2 of the more elite options down the middle for your team.
Agreed.
I know people. I really liked Amber Giedi and Molly McCage last time around, but like Retke and Breon Butler are like battle tested in professional volleyball.
And those 4 that you just mentioned are the 4 on the roster this week. Giedi, McCage, Butler, Retke. Yeah, that's really good.
I actually like that middle group. It's just on the outside, and it's just all the other positions that I'm not so sure about.
Still the exact same group. The positions I'm most worried about are left sides and setters. Our setters week 1 were not good. It's the same 2. And it's the same 4 left sides, including Maddie Skinner on the left. Same 2 collegiate opposites. So we have Serbia, Poland, Netherlands, France. We might get lucky and get Serbia significantly undermanned. But other than that, like that's a tough week, man. Even like France with Cazot and Jiquel both playing is a tough game.
Serbia, who? France and who?
Serbia, Poland, Netherlands, France. Like, that's tough.
You guys might go. You guys might not. You guys could very possibly go 0-4.
I agree.
Like that's and it wouldn't be outrageous too. Maybe France.
I wouldn't even be
France.
It depends on how we would play, about how angry I would be about that. But we might catch a break against Serbia with the injuries. But
the Dutch are good.
Poland's
good.
The Dutch and Poland are both substantially better than we are right now. Substantially better. Could be a tough week. So I implore patience and support. And you can identify and point out bad volleyball, but you need to keep the context in mind of the youth and the runway that we have, because this might be a rough week and you better strap in.
Youth is always contextual, though.
Yes, it is. And the eye test matters, and the ability to improve from week 1 matters. And I'm going to have my eye on all that, but I'm just in advance, I'm already annoyed at online comment sections about the U.S. women. It was so bad week 1. I'm just like bracing myself to be really annoyed by our own fan base. Yeah, interesting one. Serbia, the Belgrade site is, I think, the most interesting one to me. There are no truly bad teams. I mean, Turkey has some terrible teams. Hong Kong has some bad teams. I do like the China, Italy, Japan triangle is good.
Serbia is going to be the new Canada for the next 2 weeks, where all the good games happen. Actually, no, the American Chicago's are going to happen.
Chicago.
It's like you could tell that one is the Volleyball World event. Like, it's not USAV, it's running it. It's Volleyball World that's running it. So they put all of the best teams in the States to be able to get as much much traction.
Smart move. I mean, they would be insane not to put Poland in Chicago. They're always going to do that. So I hope that we get close to Olympic level Poland, because we're getting Olympic level Italy, and we're getting the best possible version of Canada. We're getting the best possible version of Brazil, probably. Like it's going to be a sweet week. But yeah, Belgrade this week for the women could be fireworks, and just the drama and the unpredictability continuing. Games I have my eyes on: Friday, Japan versus Italy, and Germany versus Poland. Saturday, Japan versus China, and then a bunch of good games on Sunday: China, Italy, Turkey, Brazil, and then Poland versus who the hell knows what Serbian team's going to show up.
Yeah. I will not be watching any ball this weekend. I'm going to a bachelor party. I'm just warning everyone. And I'm going. Actually, that's not entirely true. There may be some down moments for me. I'm going to be around Wednesday and Thursday to watch. So I'll probably do a couple of live streams, watch along throughout the time.
Definitely do some watch alongs next week when you're here. The schedule works out pretty well for that in the mornings here, so that's going to be fun.
Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, we could definitely do that. No, well, we see because if we're gonna be together, I might rather record other videos.
True. I think we've
been doing watch alongs, but we'll see. We'll see. We
do both.
But yeah, I'm not gonna watch a lot this weekend. Just to warn our fans out there. Yeah, this is gonna be my one weekend off from volleyball.
Respect. You've earned it. You've been pumping it out the last 2 weeks. So I'm excited
to sleep on a good bed. My Airbnb was terrible.
Don't worry, I got a good one here for you. That's ready for you here in Chicago. Yeah, you got a full guest room, dog. You can become Hurricane Everett and just take over that room for the whole week.
That's perfect. That's
as long
exactly
as
what I need.
Keep the door closed. Don't let me see any of it. All right. We'll I think that's show, right? We can get out of here.
Are Canadian cigarettes legal in Illinois?
I don't even know what that is.
Is marijuana legal in your country?
Yes.
In your state?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, it is. I don't know if you can fly with it across the border.
No. You definitely cannot. And I'm not going to El Salvador. Absolutely not.
But yeah, you can get it here if that sort of thing interests you. If you want to keep following along with everything we're doing, make sure you're subscribed here to Volleyball Source. We have a Discord community that we've referenced many times. They are a bunch of psychopaths, but we love them very much. There's a link in the description for that. And maybe I might do some reaction videos for the women this week. Everett might do some watch alongs, but either way, get ready because next Monday, Everett shows up here. Everett shows up in Chicago, and we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I'll put my head down. This would just be serious. Thanks to everyone who supported along the way, who sent messages, who commented. Ozzy, you're a fucking legend. You commented on every single fucking video the entire time. Our numbers for VNL this year were significantly better than any year in the past, and they're not even done yet. So yeah, just thank you very much for being along with the ride. Really appreciated it. It was really what kept me going, especially in the second half of the Quebec City week, when I was starting to get a little lonely and a little tired and everything. So really appreciate the community for being around because it was a lot of fun. If you came and said hi, big shout out to Oliver who came up and he was watching volleyball for the first time live. He flew all the way from fucking New Zealand.
Whoa.
From New Zealand.
Wow.
To come watch. He had me sign my first ever autograph, and it looked terrible on his Volleyball Canada shirt. So I apologize, Oliver, but it was a huge honor to be able to be signing that. I was actually the first one to sign it, and I saw him get players afterwards. But yeah, just big shout out to everyone from the community who was out and about, who said hello, all of that stuff. I cannot wait to go back to Quebec City next year. Like I know it's going to be an absolute blast, and and really appreciate everyone from the community for watching along. I know if you're a new fan who's just joined us throughout this VNL, welcome. We've been doing this for a while now, so hopefully we can just do it better for you. But really happy with everything that's happened over the past few weeks.
Well said. This event really kind of gives us life. It gives our channel a lot of purpose, and it gives us a lot of the reasons why we keep doing this thing. When we get to be at events and talk to people and realize how impactful it is what we do, like you guys enjoy the way that we cover the game, so that means a lot to us and we appreciate it a lot. So yeah, get in our community, continue being active, and strap in because VNL is still going to rage on the rest of the summer. It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Everett, go back to sleep. I assume that's what you're doing the rest of the night.
No, Sam and I are gonna barbecue on the
Nice.
roof. And then
Stanley Cup Finals, perhaps. I'm watching tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch tonight.
Watching my country win yet another one of your sports trophies, so that's going to be nice.
Yeah, filled with players from my country, which is once again the only way that your teams can win anything is you get a bunch of people from other countries to come win for your sports teams. Kind of like the NCAA. Men's volleyball in the NCAA.
30 years, teams. 32 years is a long drought for Canadian hockey teams. Long drought.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have an American running our league who goes against us, but that's fine. That's fine. Well, we'll just continue winning it with more Canadian players. Representation matters, and you guys don't have much of it in volleyball or in hockey.
Yeah, well, get your trash talking out now before you come down to me next week Thursday and get your asses beat in Chicago. It's going to be a fun one.
You think we're like? Do you honestly believe we're getting our asses beat?
Yep,
with the performance that your team put out.
We win
truthfully. That might be one of the most ignorant things that you've ever said.
With what we can and will add, we win that match 3-1.
The only area that Ma'a is a
setter, libero, and opposite, all upgrades. We win that match 3-1.
And sing an upgrade
over what we had week 1. Yeah. And Kyle Hobus might be the best option in the gym right now.
You go from a failing grade to like a slightly better failing grade, but sure, go for it.
With what we bring next week, we win that match 3-1. Okay. We'll be there for it.
That is confident.
Yep.
That is confident, especially from a bunch of boys who can't pass the ball. Yikes.
Looking forward to it.
We're not serving shoji.
Yeah,
we actually have our team actually has a serving strategy, and we actually go after players. Our strategy, our system isn't just Karch. He's the system. We have an identifiable system.
This is adorable.
It actually works. It actually works pretty well.
This is cute, and enjoy it while it lasts.
Cute. You lost to teams you thought were going to get relegated, and then you're hyping up losing or just barely beating teams that are also going to get relegated, but it's cute.
None of what I said, so that's adorable. Keep the energy going.
We also live streams.
We will.
I didn't, but the Discord told me about it.
So typical. All right. Thanks y'all for watching. We appreciate you. We'll see y'all next week.
This is gonna be fun.